Hi, let's get into it. Today's topic is, oh no, my temperature's low. What can I do about it? Because probably you've heard about how I like to get my clients and anyone who I talk to is concerned about their health and energy levels to do their temperature. Digital's fine, old-fashioned mercury's fine. It's quite good, and it just goes under the tongue to the back of the mouth to one side. 2 minutes, you take your temperature, ideally in the morning. So I've been talking to a number of people lately, and I've got a few in mind. I'm finally making this video to give you some really quick pointers of things that can really make a difference to pick up your temperature. Why are we talking about temperature? It's a really clear indicator of your metabolic health. And that's going to have a big impact on your energy levels, all aspects of your health. And it does indicate your thyroid function. But thyroid, if you've got a low temperature, doesn't mean your thyroid's got a problem. It just means your thyroid's doing its job as best as it can, but means it's an indicator that something's not quite right. Life needs tweaking, diet needs tweaking, and that's especially what we're going to be looking at. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown, a quick overview of the general basics. Let's get a few of the foundational questions answered straight away, because people say, well, what's the best diet? What should I be eating? My answer is everything. Eat everything that God made. Eat everything that that people have been eating for centuries. It's all good. So we want to have all of the macronutrients. Macronutrients are protein, carbs, fats. You don't need to know exactly what that all is, but we'll talk a bit more about that. So all of the macronutrients, they're all of the main, macro meaning big, nutrients, nutrition that our body needs. They're all the big ones, the main ones, the three ones that we need. And then all the food groups. And I'm going to throw in all the flavor types as well. And then I'm going to pick out 3 really important ones that are especially going to really bring a shift to pick up your temperature, pick up your energy, sense of well-being, and zest for life. And I just really quickly, this isn't in my notes, I always think of so many other things to say, but I did have a low temperature. It was close to 2 years ago, and mine was low. The one thing I added was ghee, and that was enough to pick up my temperature back to normal range, and it only took a few weeks. So ghee might be what you need, and that's one of the fats we'll talk about. Ghee is just clarified butter. I have ghee because clarifying the butter takes out the milk protein, which some people are intolerant to, myself included. So that's why ghee is my friend, but butter is fine for some. So diving into it, the 3 macronutrients, they are so important because there's so many fad diets around, and they're all playing with these 3 macronutrients, like low carb diets, and carbs. Some people talk about carbs like they're bad, but they're not. We need them. Fats, low fat diets come and go, and then low protein diets. You don't tend to hear about those. Some diets are high protein, but the talk about protein we hear a lot about is meat protein and animal proteins bad for us? Should we only be having plant proteins? That whole movement towards veganism, from my perspective, is a scary fad, and I probably will make another video about this in the near future. The answer is, God, the Creator, has made this amazing world, and He knows what He's doing. What He created is good. What He says in our scriptures is good also. And scriptures describe a diet, talks a lot about food, and all of these things, meat and carbs and fat, are all there, and they're all called good things to eat, even from the mouth of Jesus himself. And so that's my short take on it. I could talk for ages, but that's my defense of, don't worry about strange things you hear. All these things are good. Carbs, fats, protein. The two most important ones I want to talk about for raising our metabolism is carbs, and the goal here is just to have enough spread out over the day. They are our body's favorite energy source. When we're talking about carbs, we're talking about bread, rice, potato, oats, muesli bars, muesli, they're some of my favorites, porridge, crackers, crisp breads. Our body's favorite fuel for energy, and we want a consistent supply throughout the day. The next most important thing about carbs is that some of us are what's now being called carbohydrate intolerant. Now, there's a topic for another video as well, but the easiest advice about this, to consume our carbs wisely, is to not have carbs by themselves. So if I'm just having a biscuit, or if I'm just having toast and honey, toast and jam, I'm getting carbs and carbs. The wisdom with carbs is don't have them by themselves. Make sure that they are with fiber or fat or protein. And so that looks like plenty of butter on the toast with what you're having it with. Fruit and nuts, biscuits, and you might not like nuts, but chocolate. Chocolate actually, dark chocolate works well. Sweet. Moving along, fats. Most of us are not having enough fat, and most of us are definitely not having enough healthy fat. Majority of fats in our diet now are vegetable fats, and we've been told for like 60, 70 years that vegetable fats are way better for us than saturated fats, but that's completely not true. I have brought two books to show you, and these are two of my really good sources of information for what I'm sharing with you, amongst many other sources of information. Eat fat, lose fat. This is the one that mostly talks about fats from a very scientific perspective. Dr. Mary Enig and Sally Fallon, highly regarded, and that is a really good book, not only for weight loss, but for restoring your health, and it's about eating more fats. And the title is true. Often people who struggle to lose weight would do better with more fat in their diet. This one, SD Protocol, by an Australian author, and it's really good on this topic also. And he takes a more holistic approach. The book is summarized here with the SD Protocol, and it covers kind of every area of life and health, including looking after our environment, our bodies physically, with appropriate exercise, appropriate rest, and real honest rest, like relaxation, meditation. So our whole being is getting deep rest. And in contrast to what I mean by honest rest is, I'm classic for this. I physically feel like I need to rest, so I will sit down and watch TV or watch YouTube or something, and I'm not really resting. It's not as resting as if I was outside, enjoying the sunshine, just watching what's around me, enjoying the birds and the trees and so on. I think you can see what I mean by if I'm just physically resting, that's different to, my whole being is unwinding. So I mentioned that to look at every area of our life, because diet is not the only solution. We also need to consider good sleep, getting plenty of sleep, and plenty to drink as well, plenty of water or appropriate beverages. But on with the show. So fats. I've got some visual aids. Enough fats in the day. While I went to my book on this one, they say up to 8 of these spoonfuls. So it'll be 8 flat. If this is going to be 10, or maybe not flat, 10 grams. And yeah, I haven't measured and weighed my spoonfuls of fat, but you get the gist. If it's a bit of a spoonful, not piled high, 10 grams of butter or coconut oil, they're the two that are going to be the most helpful. And over the course of the day, it's going to be mounting up here. You might think, that's a lot of fat to have. Yes, because I think it's more than we're used to. We've heard the low-fat message for so long. The next key piece of information is that it doesn't need to all be butter, ghee, or coconut oil, because we want a balance of fats. The ideal balance is roughly half and half. Half vegetable oils and half these oils that are hard, the saturated ones that are hard on a cool day. So our other fats are going to come from olive oil, nuts and seeds, things like that. But when we're correcting an imbalance, if we've had too many vegetable oils for a time, you can correct the balance by having more of the saturated fats. And I had a thought that came and went. What was the thought? Meat fat. That's the other one. We don't need to be scared of meat fat. I now buy cheap mince without thinking twice about it, because you can go overboard with meat fat, but we don't need to avoid it. Like many of us have heard the message that trim all the fat off your meat, buy lean meat, and we've done ourselves a disservice. But when it comes to having ghee and coconut oil, when I first added ghee, like I said, I felt like I'd come home. Like I thought, butter, where have you been all my life? Because I was raised not having dairy products. We just had margarine. It was considered healthier, and a number in my family would get sore throats or sniffly noses or even asthma flare-ups, allergy flare-ups from milk products. And so butter wasn't really part of my life until, like I said, nearly 2 years ago. And so I was putting it on my toast, cooking with it, and also making slices and stuff. So I made up this flapjacks oat slice that's heaps of ghee per serve, and I had plenty of that. So I really, I think I could do that again to continue having more. But yeah, that's how I got plenty in my day and really felt the benefits. I always try and make these videos quick and it never happens. So really quickly, as I said, all food groups. If we're having meat, grains and other carbohydrate or starchy foods, and fats, we've covered most of the food groups. Then you've also got fruit and veg, really important for all the minerals, phytonutrients, vitamins that are in fruit and vegetables. And what we can learn from all the hype about the diets that are 80, 90 or 100% fruits and vegetables is that most of us need more. I would say it could be around 70 to 80% of our diet. So just throwing that in there for the fruit and veg, I could definitely improve my fruit and veg intake too. And then don't forget other healthy things that are part of creation, nuts and seeds, beans, lentils, all of that. And then all the flavor types. Here we go. So sweet, is that everybody's favorite flavor type? Maybe. Now God has created sweet things. We do want sweet things to be part of our day. If we don't have them, we feel deprived. It just is how we're made. We have senses for all these flavor types, and we feel fulfilled when we have them. Salt. This is my next biggest point to pick up our temperature. We focused on carbs, plenty of carbs throughout the day. We focused on fats, picking up fat intake, especially butter, ghee, coconut oil. And the third one I want to talk about with you is salt, because we often don't have enough salt. I also thought I was being really healthy years ago, not having salt. And I didn't eat a lot of processed food. I cooked my own from kind of scratch, and ate very plain. And so I didn't have much salt in my diet. There are studies now that back it up. We all need, and I don't want to spill this, let me do this carefully. Here's our teaspoon, a big rounded teaspoon, like a big one. That might be more accurate if we're being metric about it. Teaspoon, we need at least 1.5 per day, but even up to 4 is fine. And often people who are fatigued are lacking minerals from salt, and so it can really help pick up your energy levels. It can help pick up blood pressure, and to healthy levels. Not saying you want high blood pressure, but some of us have low blood pressure, and salt can really help. So it's hard to get that much salt in the day, but the way I did it was to increase my salt intake. I would even add more salt to, definitely more salt to meals, right? And be generous. And even a pinch of salt to my drinks, mostly hot drinks. And I created, people who visit my place actually like my drink creation recipe. We call it a salty honey tea. And so it's that, a pinch of salt, generous pinch of salt, or even as much as you can tolerate. If you're trying to have more, see if it helps you. Then teaspoon of honey. 1 teaspoon of honey is appropriate amount at a time. We're not, this much honey is not going to be friendly to your blood sugar levels. This much honey is appropriate. And although I will admit, for some people around who have a sweet tooth, I will be generous sometimes, and it might be a spoon that's a bit bigger than this. So, not being stingy. But that's the drink. Salt, honey, whatever milk you like, rice milk, normal milk, hot water, and it's really lovely. And people are surprised when I say, have a salty drink. They like it. And then even to my muesli porridge, I tend to find ways to add salt to just about anything and everything. On salt, we don't want just any salt. I'm not doing any product placement here. This is not sponsored or anything, but this is Australian lake salt. It's a pretty good one. Himalayan salt's really popular now, and fairly affordable. Celtic sea salt is like cream of the crop if you want to go for the healthiest option. Celtic sea salt also has naturally occurring iodine, which is a bonus. And the salts don't just give us sodium. Everyone knows, isn't salt high in sodium? Well, actually, when salt is natural and not refined, it's got more than 80 different minerals in it. So that's why it's such a good mineral source. So they are my big tips. I'll be really keen to hear if you try. Keep tracking your temperature. You can track it every morning if you want to, or a few times a week. And I'm really confident that this can help. So recapping, we want to have all the macronutrients. Don't listen to the fad diets. We want all food groups, and we want all flavor types. I didn't finish going through them, but I'm going to real quickly. We got to sweet, salty, sour. The best sour foods that we honestly need, even every day, are like lemon juice, lime juice, and a good quality vinegar, like an apple cider vinegar. They're the most common sour foods in Western diets. And they're important. They're important for our health and our energy levels. Bitter foods, like bitter herbs. And then that's pretty much it, isn't it? The 4 flavor types. My second last point is, should I take supplements? Yes, you probably actually do need some supplements. I can't tell you what, but a multivitamin might be a good place to start. Everyone can benefit from that, usually. And and then my last point is, have enough food, eat plenty. Often we're told less is better. We're told in order to be healthy what foods to avoid. But that's why I just wanted to come present this and say, enjoy everything. Enjoy all the food in creation. Eat as close to nature as possible. Enjoy all the flavor types. And add these extra things in. Make sure you're getting plenty of those healthy fats, especially saturated ones, and plenty of carbs, as in, hint, hint, don't go more than 3-4 hours without eating. That's not going to be friendly for your health and your metabolism. And then the fats. Did I say that? And salt. Fats, carbs, salt. Let me know how you go. Yep. So thanks for watching. I wish I had a song to play. Dun, 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 dun. That, and the music means go about your life inspired and have hope, because there are these relatively easy things you can do to feel better really quickly. Okay. Catch you around.